Have you ever thought about what your collaboration superpower is? So I tend to see 4 different things that can be someone's superpower. It can be how they relate to others, how they execute and get things done, how they think and process the world, and sometimes that adds in make decisions, and then how they influence others. So those are 4 common ways. So for example, if it's how you relate to other people, maybe you have an awesome network and you get things done because people like you and you've spent so many years really building tight network of close people. Maybe you influence really well on the thinking side because you have a really clear way of processing information, or because you do magical things with data, or because you come up with the most innovative ideas that blow people's minds. Maybe you do it through the influencing zone, where your superpower is being really clear and concise with your communication in a way that you are not afraid to ask for what you need, and it really helps you get things done. Or maybe it's on the executing side, where you have a plan, you know exactly the resources and time it will take to get things done, and that helps you set really clear expectations with other people. So it's really fun to look at what your collaboration superpower might be. But let's also talk about realities of life. What I see more often in the workday is that you've spent 6 hours in back-to-back meetings. And then after those 6 hours of back-to-back meetings happen, you've barely had time to down a power bar to feed yourself. You have instant message pinging you. You have an inbox that's overflowing, people asking for things from you. And you sit down and think about collaborating with a teammate. They're probably not going to get your superpower. They're going to get the distracted survival mode you. And that happens so often in the workplace. What that ends up bringing people is often those strengths overused, or those superpowers misapplied. And I'll tell you, I had an experience this week that was a perfect metaphor for it. I just got this new pair of casual sneakers, and here they are. I put them on and started taking a couple of steps through the house, and I felt this horrible thing in the ball of my foot. It felt like a giant gumball pressing down on my foot. Obviously not wearable, and it was actually quite painful in those just couple of steps. So I take the shoe off, I'm inspecting inside, and sure enough, that bubble was manufactured inside of the shoe. It was actually under the insole. So I did a little shoe surgery, and what I found was this little pea-sized thing that I believe is shoe glue. It felt gigantic. It was actually quite small, but it reminded me so much of what happens when your strengths go a little bit wild and you're misapplying one of your superpowers and you're in your distracted survival mode version of your collaboration. Sometimes those same things that serve you really well can get misapplied. Maybe if you think of yourself as an ingredient in the projects, you know, you have this critical role and you hold things together, just like the glue in a shoe is really critical and holds important parts together. When it's going really well and in flow, you don't even notice that those things are happening. But when something is wrong, oh my gosh, it can create a lot of pain for other people. The same thing happens with these superpowers you have when they get misapplied. So that same person who is awesome at relationship building, maybe their network starts to tire of them. They create a little bit of pain because in your haste, when you've been distracted and you're just trying to be efficient and get things out, you send too many emails that are taking, and they start to view you as more of a taker than a giver. And that very thing that has helped you be so successful in your career starts to not be so much. Or it could be the person who's just an awesome planner, and they're the one who does so well at executing because they have a plan and they follow it lockstep all the way through. When you get in distracted mode and when you get in that mode of just surviving, maybe you forgot to communicate some of the critical changes that have happened and people are missing their deliverables, but actually they didn't know that you changed the deadlines. So your action for this week is to think about you in this scenario. What's your collaboration superpower? Is it the relationship side? Is it the executing? Or the influence, or how you think and make decisions? And then, once you think about the great side, where you really are helpful, also think about situations when you're at your worst, when you're most distracted, when you're most stressed, and what that shoe glue can look like on you, that extra dab of thing that you might misapply when you're not firing at your very best.